The amount of fun a toilet deck is to play is inversely proportional to the amount of fun it is to lay out for a deck profile or write down for a deck list. Hello guys, we are here with Legend Toilets. I've been really excited to dive into this deck profile. So you can see all those one-offs. So let's just count them up real quick. How many different cards do we have here? A 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, a 7, a 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. This is actually supposed to be 25, but I can't find the Buddyfight Valentine promo for Oswira Gard anywhere. So like, this actually isn't 100% accurate. One of these Oswira Guards should be swapped for the Kiri Valentine's promo because it's literally the exact same card but it has a different name. So, you know, that's real good. Why does any of that matter, Hunter Surge? Why are you running so many different names? Well, if you're asking that, you obviously haven't looked into toilets in the least. But the reason is very simple. It's our buddy here. It's the Professor Menjo, who is an amazing card. His stat line is pretty trash, and you have to pay to call him too. But, so, he has the act ability to put 4 more different differently named cards at the bottom of your deck from your drop zone. Then you gauge 2. Then if you put 8 or more, you draw a card. And then, this is the juicy stuff, if you put 12 or more, you search your deck for any card. Any card. So that turns any of our techs, like anything in this deck is searchable. Everything and anything is searchable. So we're milling our deck out to get specific combo pieces in our drop zone to set up for our big toilet push play, and we're able to search out anything to on our big push turn to make it happen, to make our dreams into reality. And honestly, a lot of the time when you're going for that big final push, it is very realistic that you'll be able to Menjo, use his search to get another Menjo, call that Menjo, and still get the search off of that Menjo. That's the thing I've done multiple times on camera, even. You've seen it in my match videos. Oh, it's crazy plays. It's great. Now, this build is actually quite a bit different from the build I was using in my first couple match videos. Because after that first batch of testing, I was like, okay, I need more Gauge Excel in this deck. And the best way I could think of was, okay, I need Alwidol. I need a way to make Alwidol work. So, the most unorthodox card in here is this here Loyal Unicorn, which is 3/2/1 size 1 that lets you discard and draw when it enters the field if you have another Weiterstadt call or fairy on your field. And, well, monster. Weiterstadt call fairy. This is a fairy, this is a fairy, this is a fairy, this is a fairy, this is a Weiterstadt call. Pretty easy to make that happen, to be honest. So, yeah, that's a really good advantage engine. Then, as more discarders, we have Nausciss Gard, which allows us to discard a card from our hand to add any size 0 from our drop zone to our hand. So this lets us really tech with these size 0s here. So let's take a quick look at these. First we have Loki the Ehrgeiz, which is going to let us clear out the soul of our toilet, or really anything on our opponent's board. So that's really fantastic. Then we have an enemy dummy Migi nice guy, which is when it attacks, you move a soul from something. So it can basically fills the same job as Loki. The only real reason that this is in here is because it's a toilet, which means it can be searched by our paper dude right there. And then we have one Retainer of the Demonic Dragon Horned Serpent, 2/1. At the end of its battle, it bounces itself, and if you have a size 3 on your field, you gain a life. So that's pretty rad. Alright, so what else we got here? Well, of course, we have the main duo of the deck, of course. We have our item, School Campus Level 3, the 3rd toilet before you. It costs 2 gauge, and you put the top 3 cards of your deck into its soul, which really helps fuel our drop zone. Whenever it's attacked, you discard a soul from it as Soul Guard, and when there are no soul in it, you can counteract, put it to drop zone, and call a toilet. And that toilet is always going to be the Hanako In The Toilet. This card cannot enter the field other than by the effect of a toilet item. When it enters the field, destroy all cards on the opponent's turn, and you gain life equal to the number of cards destroyed triple attack. This is a great push card. Can do some great defensive plays too. And the triple attack is just amazing. And it's just a fantastic card. To make all that happen consistently, we have, as I've mentioned before, Paper Ittan-momen. This is basically Call Brave Machine on lakes. It's 4/2/5, size 2. 1 gauge. When discarding this field, put up to 1 toilet from your deck into your hand and shuffle your deck. So, typically, on our turn 1, we're going to call this to center, search this out, equip it. And if we already have the toilet, we're going to be using this to search for Skeletal, Specimen, Skull Dandy. Another toilet, size 0, 1/1/1, that lets us mill 3 on entry, and if there's a fairy among them, you draw a card. Most of the time, this is going to go off. And that is pretty fantastic, really helps fill up our drop zone. We also have, to excel our milling, Hazel, Emperor, Jailer, Alking, Hero, Fairy, Act, put the top 3 cards of your deck into the drop zone to pop an item or spell on your opponent's field. Very nice to have some access to item or spell popping without Hanako, because this will allow us to like pop off Black Dragon's item so that we can pop Requiem when we go for a big Hanako play. So that's kind of important. That's kind of important right there. Or to just remove it so that we can Loki their Requiem or something like that. Or shield their Requiem. Because our shield, our toilet shield, is pretty fantastic. The door that just went open. It has the toilet attribute, which is pretty great. Means we can search it with Paper Ittan-momen, but because this costs gauge, you typically won't end up doing that. But you can cast it during any attack. You pay 1 gauge, nullify the attack, and then if you have a toilet on your field, you pop a soul from any card on the field. So we can use that to excel our Hanako plays, because opponents will very often link or just hold back on attacking, hold back on their attacks to avoid you getting your Hanako off. So that's one of the ways that we can force ourselves into having that 0 soul to do our Hanako plays. But it can also do some amazing things to screw with our opponent. Like obviously against Sonderdach, just pop out like Sonic Blast or something, just completely screw them up. But in addition to that, the play I really like is against Niels Y. Our opponent swings in with Exit Dimension. We cast this, we remove Triple Buster, and then when our toilet is out of soul, before they've moved to their final phase, we pop off our toilet, call Hanako, blow up their board, gain 3 life, and because we've cleared out their soul, thanks to our shield, they don't have something to call over with their impact monster. So it's really good. It's really good there. Really fantastic. Yeah. Okay, what else? Right. Our other shield, our other primary shield is Scorn of Gremlin. Wires to call, defense 100 demons. You may only cast this card during attack on your opponent's turn. Nullify the attack if it is not a link attack. There's a lot of stuff that can hit over 7k now. So I really like this card because it can defend our Hanako in the center. And having 6 shields that can do that is pretty nice. It's pretty nice. I've mentioned Oswira Gard before as one of it should be Kiri. But let's talk about what it actually does. We can kill a monster on our field to gauge 1 and draw 1. Basically just a filter. Since, as I said, we're going to be putting stuff in our center early game a lot, this is really nice to get some more advantage out of them. Especially since these have fairly decent defense values of 5k. They can block a lot of lower size stuff. Our size 3 boss monsters, other than Hanako, are also very important. First up, we have Fairy King Oberon, 2 gauge if there are a total of 7 or more hero and fairy in your drop zone. Nullify all abilities of monsters on your opponent's field and double attack. Really fantastic. Can shut down, move, and all kinds of things to really help you push for game. Like you swing, you have that plus your toilet plus a size 0. You swing 4 times for 7 damage, then you go into Hanako and you swing 2 more times, and any Soul Guard things in your way or anything move potentially is just not there, and boom, they're dead. Our alternative is Fairy Dragon Emperor Felistas. I really like this tech. It's a 7/2/7, 2 gauge, double attack, lifelink 2. And when it enters the field, if there are 8 or more Dragon Lord or Fairy in your drop zone, deal 3 damage to your opponent. The matchup I really like this card for is versus Style of Justice, because you're not going to have your double attack or your triple attack once you've entered your attack phase because everything's nullified. This will be an easier matchup in the future once we get access to some of our upcoming support. But for now, this is really our best option for that matchup. We use this to just deal 3 to them directly, and then like hopefully use Toilet to go into Hanako so that we can cast our Impact, which is of course searchable by the paper, which lets us pay 2 gates to deal 3 if Hanako's on our board. So that's basically the idea there. Style of Justice is still a pretty hard matchup, especially in comparison to things like Toilet and Chaos, which are quite a bit easier for us to handle. But yeah. And one of the reasons why, one of the tech cards that you're going to want more of in the side that really helps with the Chaos matchup in particular is Great Spell Weiterstadt. At the end of the first attack of your opponent's turn, you can pay 2 gauge, pay 2 life, just end the attack phase. Really good against Thunder Empire and Chaos, but the cost is very hefty, so we don't want to be running too many of it. But I would highly suggest having more of this in your sideboard to side in versus those matchups, because it is so valuable in those matchups. I haven't really mentioned the whole reason why I wanted a discard engine, for those unfamiliar with Legend World though. And that reason is Valkyrie All-Knowing Alwidol, which is basically just when it's discarded, you gauge 1, draw a card. It has another effect that prevents your great spells from being nullified, but that's completely irrelevant for this deck. So that play is really fantastic. Really love it. Then we have Darkness Rune, super versatile card. Love this card to death. It's pay 1 life, and you choose one of the following 3. You either gauge 2, counter kill one of your opponent's soul, or you destroy size 1 or less on your opponent's field. Now, I was talking about the Neil's Y matchup earlier, and this is another card I really love in that matchup, because what this can do in that matchup is basically, so your opponent has just dropped Exit Dimension. They've called it normally, so it has its 3 soul. It has 2 other random soul, and then it has Triple Buster. They're all ready to screw you up, dude. So they target their 2 soul for Exit Dimension. They have to target those, and because there's no May in the text of that effect, even if they lose one of the soul, they still have to pay out what they can, and they won't be able to fully resolve the effect regardless. So we respond with Darkness Rune. We pop out one of their soul. Now, they don't get their triple attack. Now, say they have one of their size 0 Dragon Arms, or they called it with Drake Solar, then yes, they can still go for it, but they'll most likely have to lose their Triple Buster to do so, and then they'll likely have no soul, so that you can Hanako their ass, and it's really great. I feel like I haven't gotten the chance to test it much, but I'm like, from my experience with test hands with this deck, its defensive capabilities, this deck feels like it has a really solid matchup against Neil's Y because of these anti-soul shenanigans that it has access to. Then we have some more attack 1-offs down here. Holy Grail, open center, nullifying attack. Light of Guidance, discard card, gauge 1, reduce the next damage you would take to 0. And Death Summoning Tears of the Banshee, this is an old one. Fairy, and you can only cast it if there are 6 or more fairy in your drop zone. Destroy a card on the field. So that's pretty good for taking care of shoes and stuff like that. Overall, I love this deck. It is so much fun. Oh right, I completely forgot one card. I completely forgot about this tech. Treasure Drailer, Sonderdach. When this card enters the field, you mill 3 and take 1 damage. It's a 5/2/1, where's the call? And it has the act ability Landslide to pay 1 gauge to revive it from your drop zone. So this is really good for filling up our drop zone, for Menjo plays, for Oberon plays, for Felistas plays, all those sorts of things. This guy's really great, and we just run 1 of it so that we can mill it into the drop zone, and then call it out to mill more. Basically, that's the whole point of that card being there. So yeah, I really like that. It's been one of my favorite techs in this deck. It's come in clutch a lot to fully enable Menjo or fully enable Oberon or whatever. But yeah, I really love that. So yeah, I think that is everything to do with the deck. The Neil's Y matchup I feel is one of the deck's stronger ones. You have a lot of high power attacks that you can belt out, so I feel like the Prism matchup isn't too concerning. Thunder Empire can really go 50-50, depending on how well you draw defensively. But if you can go off properly, like, there's not really a whole lot they can do. Chaos, I haven't tested that matchup enough yet. I feel like it can go either way. Very similar to Thunder Empire, really depending on how well you draw. But Oberon can really screw over Alo Diablos, prevent it from going off. I know for a fact, though, that when we get the new Legend Mode support, that matchup in particular is going to improve a lot. A lot of our problems with that matchup currently will be fixed a lot with that. Oh, right, and Oni Assassins, like, you murder them. Your Legend Mode, you murder Oni Assassins. That's not a problem matchup at all. Oh, right, Black Dragons. I almost forgot about Black Dragons. You should perform very well against Black Dragons, because against Mill, Menjo is going to do. Against Requiem, you have the tools to get Requiem off the board. You have enough control tools to deal with it between this and this and this and this and this and this and this. Like, you have a lot of things to push for game while also being able to slow down Requiem if need be. So I don't see that matchup as being a problem. I've tested it a few times, and it doesn't seem like a problem matchup at all. So yeah, and against Mill, you just Menjo. One thing I really want to say: experiment with your own text. Experiment with your own deck builds. Just don't just take this. Experiment with your own stuff. Like, I built this deck. I think it's pretty optimal, but Toilets, one of the most fun things about them is putting in your own crazy text because of how Menjo allows you to really use them. And seeing that all come together in a match and getting to do these crazy combos with these texts that you've put in, it's the most fun thing, and oh, it's so fun. Toilets are an amazingly fun deck. They are such a Timmy deck, but they're also rather competitively viable. I love this deck to death. I hope you guys can have some fun with it too. I hope I've helped you on your toilet journey. With that said, if you would like to see more toilet action, I have tons of match videos already up on the channel. Be sure to subscribe for more. And if you want to support the creation of my content, please go check out my Patreon. Even $1 helps a ton. With that said, this is Hunter Surge, signing off.